Hello, and thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the She Means Business podcast, where we bring together badass women business owners, industry leaders, and other aspiring women to celebrate their success and empower you. I am your host, Ashley Mastowski. I'm a business owner, wife, and mom of twin toddlers. Ambitious is my middle name. Join our email list and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You'll find inspiring content, updates, and the chance to connect with like-minded individuals. Remember to leave a review and share how we've inspired you. Now, let's get to business. Hello, and welcome to the She Means Business podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Mastowski. Today, I have the pleasure of learning all about a business that has two owners out of Michigan. They are a couple badass females that are trainers, personal trainers that came together to open Ohana Fitness and Wellness Studio. So I'm really excited to hear about both of their paths and how they crossed, especially because when I learned that they survived COVID and all the shutdowns and that they're still thriving, that stuff like warms my heart, because that is something that was out of our control, but you just do the damn thing and you just figure it out and you survive it. So I am really excited. So please welcome Samantha and Erin. How are you?
Yay, good. Thank you so much for having us.
We're so excited to be here.
I'm so excited. So you guys own Ohana Fitness and Wellness Studio out of Michigan. So kind of tell me your stories. You've got two different backgrounds, how you came to know each other, and even just how you got to where you were. I'm so excited to hear the story.
Sam, you want to go?
Perfect. So I was actually just talking to Erin about this. I'm like, how far back do we go? Because we've now been in business 9 years. We're celebrating our 9th anniversary in May, which
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. It has been a wild ride, and it's really crazy how we're almost to 10 years now. It feels like it just flew by. And
I think 5 is like the milestone, and then is a big milestone, right? Because most businesses fail within the first 3 years. And then 10 is even more like, I've made it. Like I don't want to say I can coast now, but like I am, living my best life now.
Yeah, well established. Yeah. And it's crazy because, you think about your original goals when you first started a business and like where you thought you would be in 10 years. And it's so much different than where you end up. Right. And it's hard to predict the future.
Reality kicks in.
Yeah. Especially when we're both in childbearing years and have our own personal lives on the side. And then we have this baby that we have to run, which is Ohana. And it's been such a blessing and also just a wild ride.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the fitness space? You can go back as far as you want. Like what, did you always know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So it's a funny story that you asked this, because I went into college for actual interior design, and I thought I was going to be a designer. And then I realized I was not good at art. And so I started getting interested.
That's important.
Yeah. So I started getting interested in nutrition and realized like I loved being in that class, and like the time would be up and I'm like, man, I want to learn more. And I really had like a desire to learn more about it. I had no idea. It was totally random that I took the class. So I really fell in love with it at that point and started just taking classes out of fitness and health and whatnot, and really started to fall in love with it. But I actually picked entrepreneurship as a major in college because I opened up we had an old school book called a bulletin, and I opened it up and
We're dating ourselves here.
Literally, because you don't go online and do it. I don't even know that was an option. But so I opened my book and I closed my eyes and I picked a major by closing my eyes, and it was entrepreneurship. And I remember
I didn't even know that was a major. Yeah. I did business management because I figured it was the broadest of everything, right? I could maybe do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I just totally picked it randomly. And I was like, well, if I can learn how to run my own business, then somebody will hire me to run theirs. That was literally my words. I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I started taking classes out of there, and it ended up like becoming a huge passion of mine, which is so crazy. Like that story probably sounds wild, but like it's true. And so,
Yeah.
I ended up graduating with a double major in entrepreneurship and health fitness with a minor in nutrition. So I did do exactly what I had planned on doing, but I had no idea that I'd be starting my own business at 25 years old, which is really where like the turning point was. And so, we can get more into that. But Erin, if you want to share how you kind of got into this too.
Yeah.
Sure. So, yeah, I've always been passionate about health and fitness. It was always like an outlet for me. I was a cheerleader in high school, and it was me working out, and I loved like fitness workout videos. So I used to
That's awesome.
always do like Billy Blanks and like Tony Horton, like all of those videos.
I was a
And
big Shalene,
yes,
Shalene
Pilates,
Johnson.
the Windsor Pilates.
yeah.
That's what it is, Windsor Pilates.
Oh, that's different. But
Yeah,
Shalene Johnson
yeah,
did
yes.
like Turbo Kick and all of
Oh,
that.
yes, I did those as well. Yep.
Yeah. And so it was always like a passion of mine, but I didn't really know like the business side of things. But I knew I wanted to be in health. I had somebody early on when I was like picking my major tell me that I would never make money because he was a personal trainer and just was like, don't go into this industry. He's like, it's, cutthroat, whatever, and kind of steered me
Wow.
away from it. So I landed, and my major was public health promotion and health education. And then I had a minor in professional sales. And so kind
Huh.
of doing that now. It's obviously a little bit
Yep.
different, but I got some experience like working for the city and doing things in communities and all of that that kind of helped us, have a different area of health, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just
Yeah.
always a passion for me where I enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, okay, if I can make money doing this too, and it's like
Why not?
fun, then why not,
Yes.
So I just
Yeah.
started, I got certified to start instructing classes, and I was kind of like all over the place with teaching. And yeah, I had a passion for that piece of it,
Very
not
cool.
necessarily
So then
like the
how did
business
you ladies meet?
background.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Now, how did you ladies meet?
It's
So
funny.
we met on Facebook.
I love it.
Yes.
This is
So
awesome.
so we actually both went to the same college at the same
Oh,
time,
okay.
but she graduated a year earlier than me, and I had been scrolling on Facebook, and I saw that it was like suggested mutual friends or whatever, and she was on there, and we had like, I don't know, 1,000 mutual friends. And I was like, what? How do I not know this girl? And she went to Central. She's in fitness. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And so I added her and slid into her DMs, as we like to say.
That's
And
amazing.
I was just like, hey, we're both in fitness. Like, we should connect because that would be cool and
Yeah.
whatever. And Erin, from your side, of like, tell about the grand opening, how you saw
Oh
it.
yeah, and I was, like I said, I was teaching fitness classes like all over the place, and at that time I saw, when I like stalked her profile, that she was like starting to open a gym. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." Like I didn't know anybody that, besides the gyms
Yeah.
that I was working at and stuff, but I didn't know anybody like our age that was like doing the thing, So I wanted to support her, and I just followed along with her announcement that she was opening the studio and that she was like trying to figure out a name and all of that. So I was just kind of like a fly on the wall, kind of like fangirling, seeing, somebody else doing something that I really didn't know was an option.
Yeah, and
That
we
is
we
so
had
cool.
we had connected online. We were like, yeah, we should like meet up sometime or something. And then we were both at the Detroit Tigers opening day for baseball, and I like saw her from across the parking garage tailgating, and I'm like, I think that's Erin. And I like ran up to her, and she was like, Sam. We're like, oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
And we always joke because I was like, wow, you're a lot shorter in person than I thought you would be. Because I'm 5'10" and she's what? What are you, 5'4"?
Nothing.
3, 5, 4, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm just shy of 6 foot, like
Oh,
a
really?
hair.
So
So
you're a tall
yes.
girl too. You
So
get it. Yeah.
yes. Yep. Totally get it.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, we definitely, this is like divine intervention. We met in person, like we have to, do something
Yep.
together. And so yeah, she ended up coming out. She wasn't an owner yet. I had just started Ohana, and she ended up coming out for a class one day, and that's how we ended up like starting this whole relationship.
And fast forward 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And, I always tell people partnership is a beautiful thing, but it's probably the hardest thing. And so it's just a lot of communication, a lot of learning, a lot of, roles. How have you guys made the partner? I mean, obviously there's always ups and downs, but like, what is your kind of like, what's a good tip to talk to people who, because a lot of people don't want to let go, but sometimes partnerships you now have double the force and double the power. And so it just makes you that more powerful. And so I really still to this day, even though I've had a sour partnership, I still am not against it by any means. So how have you guys, what's kind of your secret sauce? What do you recommend to really make it work?
I think one of the biggest things, especially when we were first starting out, it was strictly business. Like we didn't hang out outside of, work stuff, even though like we were spending tons of time together because I mean,
Sure.
we were really trying to get the business like up and going. But it was something that we kind of like put a guard up, I would say, a little bit, and
Sure.
just tried really focusing on making it work and kind of finding our role as far as like what our responsibilities were. And then obviously like communication moving forward after that. And we've become best friends since and literally still spend, either virtually or in person as much time, talk to each other every single day. And it is a blessing because we are such different humans, like just in general. But like you said, we bring something great, like together collectively. That's like it is like a superpower, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a marriage before a marriage. Like her and I, when we became business partners, it was everyone told us not to. Like, don't go into business with somebody else. Like, you're making a mistake. Here's what happened to me. And you hear all the horror stories, and we were like, no, we just work so well together. It really just like naturally worked out for us, which was awesome. But we've had our ups and downs, like Erin and I are very open with each other, and we communicate, and if one of us feels the other one's a little off with our energy, like we talk about it, because if you don't, like it really can boil up, and it's literally just like a relationship. You have to nurture it, and you have to communicate and keep things, level, playing ground level, and
I know my business partner at my insurance agency, he's my work husband. When we first merged, we're now able to do more like, hours during regular hours. We don't have to text late at night, but when we first merged, it was, like we literally doubled our size overnight because we both, we essentially merged our businesses, our agencies. And so I'm like texting late at night because we're trying, you have regular work hours, and then now we're playing catch up. And so my husband's always like, are you talking to your work husband? I'm like, yes. Like, it's so true, but it's really important to have that communication and have those roles set up for sure.
Yeah.
So kind of like we've talked more about the business and like the partnership aspect of it. How do you manage? I'm kind of in the thick of this, right? Like I've got 2.5-year-old twin toddlers. So I'm like, this is a whole new thing for me, right? Like I'm used to working long hours. I love what I do, but now it's like, no, I have to leave at 5:00 every day because I have to go pick them up from daycare. So now it's shifting of, okay, so I'm a mom and I'm running a business, or even just a wife and running the business. So kind of tell me, I like kind of our listeners to be inspired too of like, even maybe you can, tell me, how do you handle it? How do you juggle it? Because I'm still learning. I don't know the answer. My shirt, you can't see the full thing, but it says, "Good moms say bad words." It's my favorite.
Oh, I have that. I have that on a sweatshirt. I love it. Yeah, I think that's, I mean, for me personally, I'll speak to this is I'm a mom of three
Mhm.
and a wife, and it's been a challenge as far as I love work. I do. I could literally stay up all day and night and hustle. Like that is just my nature. And for
Yep.
me, it's been more like, how do you shut it off? Because that's
Yes.
difficult piece
Yes.
for me because I could
Yep.
literally, like, if you don't talk to me, if you don't interrupt me, I will just do my thing and have no issues with
Hmm.
that. But now you have these, little people that are kind of, wanting your attention and obviously need you to do things like pick them up or whatever. But
Yeah.
I truly believe, like, especially if you are ambitious and a female, a mom, like somebody looking to become a mom or a mom currently, is you can still work on your goals and dreams and be a great mom. It's just you need help. Like, there's no way around
Hmm.
it. And it takes a village to raise a family, right? Like, we've all
Yes.
heard that term is I don't think I have it all together. I don't have all the answers, but I try and work in a way where it's flexible. And that's the whole reason
Mhm.
why we become business owners in the
Yep.
first place,
Yep.
is we want to make our own rules.
So true.
But definitely just being okay, that you're not going to be able to be everywhere at once. I think that's a huge like
And that's
learning
honestly, that's
lesson.
really hard for me. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's what's difficult to be because I'm a big like I like to help and solve problems and fix things and like just support everybody. And there are days that I'm so drained because I didn't do anything for me because I'm making sure everybody else is taken care of. And so in the past, I would say 6 months, um, I've really been trying to focus on myself and fill my own cup up. I just turned 40, and so I'm like, I'm celebrating all year long. I'm not a celebrator. I'm not a birthday person, but I'm like, oh, hell yeah. For 40, I'm doing it all. So I've taken 2 girl trips to Cali. I've done, and I have a couple more planned later this year because I'm like, no, all year, not month, not birthday month. This is a big one. I can just make my own rules. So I've really been trying to do that. So what about you, Erin? You are, well, were you both married when you started?
No.
No.
Okay. So see, you've been through it all. So you did the partnership, opened the business, and then got married.
Yeah, we got
And
married
so
before
then,
we were married. Yeah, like we were married to each
that's
other
right.
first.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Your Ohana is your first marriage. Then you
Yeah.
found your partners. Perfect.
Seriously, yeah, no. We
Yeah.
were both together with our spouses now, our
Okay.
husbands now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Erin was just engaged and then I didn't get engaged till a few years later. So yeah, we've kind of been
Those
through
are
it
some
all.
big milestones within a partnership, though, of just owning a business in general, like getting married and then going through that and then, and then having babies. So what's your kind of like, what have you been going through?
Yeah.
Like, what's your process?
Yeah, actually, when you were talking about, Erin, when you were talking about how you do it and like how you just have to surrender and ask for help, I think that's been one of the biggest eye openers for both of us, from the stance of like, you never know when life is going to happen to you, right? And owning a business, it can literally take over your life if you let it. And her and I are both workaholics. And so we both like love
Mm-hmm.
to just be in it and like constantly, we will
Mm-hmm.
not shut it off. And we had to
Yeah.
spend a lot of time actually like learning how to do that. And so after I had gotten engaged, and shortly after that, 2020 hit, and my dad actually, I started 2020 because it was like the worst year ever. I started that year
Yeah.
off with my dad having stage 4 cancer and passed away,
Oh,
and we were very, very close, and so that was awful. And I
I'm
was
so
already
sorry.
engaged, and so
Yeah.
I knew that like he wasn't going to be at my wedding and all of that, and that was
Mm-hmm.
really hard. And then literally a month later, the shutdown happened. And it was just like one thing
Wow.
after another after another. And we can talk
It
about
really messes with you mentally.
It does.
Hmm.
And we can talk about how we got through that later, but
Yeah.
then just a few years later, 2 years later, my mom got stage 4 cancer and she passed away. And
Goosebumps.
I know, and that just happened last January, not this one, but the
Wow.
one before. And then my husband and I finally picked ourselves up again after another loss and decided that we wanted to
Mhm.
start trying for a family. And we could not get pregnant. And that was probably one of the
Things
hardest
come in
things.
threes. You're like, what is going
Seriously.
on right
Yeah.
now?
And it felt like just the series of unfortunate events, honestly. And
Mhm.
meanwhile, I'm trying to run a business and
I was just gonna say, and you have to
yeah,
keep this business, this other baby of yours, going, putting on a face.
yeah.
I know
And
that all
trying
too
to
well.
be
Yeah.
inspiring and be Coach Sam, and show up for people and be a good partner to Erin and be a good wife. And there were times
Wow.
where I was literally in like the darkest place and I didn't want to come and teach fitness classes and I didn't want to,
Mhm.
you walk into a room of people that love you and what's the first thing they ask? Like, how are you? And it's like, you just break down. And so,
Wow.
I think the biggest lesson here though was because I had to learn how to keep going. Like you don't get an
Mhm.
option when you're a business owner. Like you just don't. And the only way that I could keep going is if I asked for help, which is where our team came into play. Like thank God we had set up instructors on our team to be able to pick up the slack when I wasn't there and to have Erin there. That was a huge perk of a partnership is like when she was
I
out
was
on
just about
maternity
to make
leave.
that comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when she was out on maternity leave, I could pick it up, and when I was out, on
Mhm.
grievance, she could pick it up,
Yeah.
and we were really
Yeah.
there for each other. And just recently, I'm happy to announce that I am newly pregnant, and we just had completed
Ah!
IVF, and so but
Yay!
one of the things going through that was the appointments. If anybody knows, if you've ever been struggled
I
with
know.
your life becomes consumed by appointments, and if you're not at appointments you're worried about the appointment or you're waiting for
Uh-huh.
results or you're
What's my
doing
the
shots.
results?
Yeah,
Yes, all of the blood work, all of the I did 7 years of fertility treatments.
holy cow.
This was after we had been married for 4 years. And we had tried 2 times with a doctor here in Las Vegas. No answers. No, we didn't know. I mean, we battled with male infertility, but it's still, there weren't many other answers and we didn't know why.
Yeah.
So there was a pause, a break, 2 egg retrievals, 2 failed IVF treatments, and you pause and you're like, what? Maybe at that point I had 2 nephews. So I was like, okay, maybe my calling, even though I've wanted to be a mom my whole life, maybe my calling is just to be a really badass aunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I will take that up and I will do everything with, these new nephews of mine. And then, so I'm like, what do we do? I don't feel comfortable with any other doctors here. I didn't like them. I feel like I just keep hitting a dead end. And a longtime high school friend of mine was posting about her fertility. So I'm really thankful that you brought it up because I wouldn't have been where I'm at if it wasn't for other people sharing their fertility story. So many people, I think, hold it back, and I understand it's a massive issue, but I think it's obviously more and more coming out. But it is a mentally and emotionally, not even talking financial, but just mentally and emotionally draining. And it's running a business. I was not a business owner during my fertility treatments. Probably that was delayed because all of my money was going to fertility treatments. But I was like, my high school friend, her doctor was in Oregon. My whole family still lives there. So I was like, it's the same price, just a couple extra airplane rides. That's not that much more when you're looking at the whole picture of it. Night and day, fell in love with the doctor. The doctor was amazing. Had 1 more egg retrieval. I finally got pregnant and I had my first positive pregnancy test, but it ended up miscarrying right at 6 weeks. And then had another 4th failed. So we were down to our 2 embryos, our very last 2 embryos. And this was the final God moment of, we're not doing another egg retrieval. We're already later on in my life. Like, we've already spent all this money. This is it. We're just putting all of our embryos in one basket.
Literally.
So
Yeah.
to say.
Literally.
Literally. And the miracles were born. So I had twin miracles, but I understand in that it's a wild ride, and the amount of appointments, so I just love hearing that you were a business owner and had to go through this, because I was not at that time.
Yeah.
Well, I was on the final 2 rounds, so I understood that, but you're more also, you have an actual fitness studio.
Yeah.
Luckily, I can do my work anywhere. I could literally I could move out of the country if I wanted to and still do my job. But I'm sure that had its own, hiccups, but the partnership makes it amazing. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That is awesome. But if anybody understands, I do. So
yeah. And that goes to say, like, if you are struggling, and like, you're not alone. And if you like, just go and connect with somebody, even if you don't know them on social media, and if they're sharing about their journey, like, connect with them, because that, you said, like, you connected with a friend that had gone through it. Same thing with me. I connected with somebody that we had known, and I connected with her, and it really saved me. And so if you're in the thick of it right now, like, do not give up, and just know that there are people out there that can help support you. And also, like, especially if you're a business owner just going through a hard time, like, going back to if somebody passed away, or if you just have, like, life happens, right? There are always ways that you can figure out how to still keep moving forward. And like Erin had said earlier, with like asking for help and surrendering as a mom, right? Like, I'm already having to learn this early on. Like, I cannot, I've been so sick, you guys.
Erin, like, she has no idea what she's about to come into, right?
No, but that's what it's like. So many people say that, right? Like, oh, just wait. And it's like, listen, like, I've been waiting. Like,
I love it. Yes. You're like, bring it on. Bring it on. Every trial and tribulation, bring it on.
Yeah, but like, to be just in this and learning so early on that, like, you have no control, and
none whatsoever.
You're gonna have life constantly thrown at you, and it's really about how you respond to that, and know that, like, it's okay to take breaks when you need to, and giving yourself that sovereignty of having grace.
That is actually a big thing that I have, especially in the toddler years. I have been trying to give myself as much grace as possible. That is so true. And that you really do. And I'm a control freak too. So you can imagine, like, I literally have no control over my life right now. In fact, I just posted a funny meme yesterday about, it was a funny reel about, excuse me, I'm going to be late to everything because I have a toddler who has in my own stage timeline. And that is, I'm like, yes. I always try to leave early solely because my daughter, or if it's not one, it's the other one throwing the fit. And I'm like, but I've learned, actually, like, I have really grown. I really spent over the last year, 2 years, I would say, in business coaches, personal life coaches, investing in myself, because it is a whole different challenge, right? Like, and that's the biggest thing that I've learned is you have to give yourself grace 100%. And it's because life is thrown so many ways. And now once motherhood takes place and then business, like, for example, you guys went through COVID and you survived. Right now, the insurance market, I'm sure you guys have felt it, but it is called what we call a hard market. And every insurance carrier is increasing 20-30%. It's in the news. There's a lot of states that you can't even get home insurance in, that there's all these issues. And so every day you're talking to somebody bitching and complaining about their rates, and you're just dodging bullets left and right. And you also, I'm like, sometimes every conversation that I have with people, I'm like, I'm a consumer too. I'm going through the same thing. It's all empathy. But regardless, at the end of a work day, I'm mentally drained because you're like, but then you can't turn it off. You have to go pick up the kids, and you have to go home and handle your life. And hopefully the kids are having a good day and not a mental breakdown.
Yes,
So,
completely.
yeah, it's wild. So now you've had 3 kids in a being a business owner. That's pretty wild. So you're at all the stages, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's so cool. So then how did you guys, kind of just to shift gears, since we have, kind of your history, and feel free to elaborate on any more if you want, but how did you manage COVID? Like, what, you both are pretty amazing women just in that 30 minutes that we've been talking and getting to know you. All of a sudden now the government, which, we won't even go down that rabbit hole, but has no right to shut down a business, or any businesses, because everybody is
We agree. We agree.
Everybody is a, what did they call it? What was it called?
You're muted, Sam.
Oh, Sam, you're muted. Yeah. What was the word they used?
Essential
to
worker.
determine if it said yes. Okay. So the government decides you're not an essential worker as a fitness studio, which my one comment that I'm going to say on that is, you're a business owner. You have bills to pay. You are an essential worker for your family. So,
yeah.
there's that little state. So not going down that rabbit hole, but how did you guys shift? You probably had an oh shit moment, right? Like, okay, what are we going to do? What'd you guys do?
Well, I actually had a newborn at the time too. So, my middle girl, she is a 2020 baby. She was born February 3rd, of 2020. So a month later was when the shutdown happened. And that was a fearful moment in itself.
Wait, hold on. So the timing, just in case somebody missed that, is that my dad passed away the last day of January. Erin had a baby, her second baby, 3 days later.
We're dealing with a death and a birth
at the same time, and then a shutdown.
Wow.
Yeah.
To all of our listeners, side note, these are some 2 badasses right here. Like, the fact that you could overcome that, and you're here and you're standing and your business is going, just so you know, I have goosebumps. Like, that's so awesome. I respect the hell out of both of you, and I don't even know you. So, wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's so appreciated, because I truly, if anybody has felt that, like, it's incredible, like, what we can go through in business, in life, and still, like, come out on top,
You
And
persevere.
it took us, it took us so long to, like, kind of recoup that. But for 2020, like, we were already, struggling, and then we kind of had to shift focus, because we're like, okay, well, just because we have to close our physical space, rent is still due. We still have employees that are expecting payment, or, unemployment or whatever. And it was just a lot of oh shit moments, and trying to be as resourceful as possible. At one point, we were teaching fitness classes from our living rooms, like, with kids around, with probably awful quality and obviously unstable internet connections. And, like, we had a team of, other instructors that were literally volunteering, like, not expecting payment at all, just because they knew kind of the situation we were in. And we had, like, a group of clients that were continuing to pay. We were very upfront with them, and we were like, if you keep your, membership going, we will continue to serve you the best that we can at this time, and kind of pulling favors with them. And so we ended up having, a lot of clients just still continue paying, even though we were shut down.
Which is really truly the only thing that saved us, I feel like, because I mean,
for
not a
sure.
single one of our bills stopped coming out. So we had literally, it was survival mode. And so we just swapped everything to be virtual and tried our best. And thank God for our instructing team. Like some of those girls stepped up and really delivered as best as we could in our living rooms. And obviously none of us as business owners or just humans in general knew how long that would last. But for us in Michigan, we were the last industry to open back up. And it wasn't even our industry because they allowed gyms to open back up, but not fitness studios. So you were allowed to go work out at a corporate gym like a Planet Fitness or LA Fitness, but you were not able to go to a private studio because we don't have as much, I don't know, space or ventilation when we have a 26-foot garage door and a huge space to be able to do this. And yeah, it was.
There's no rhyme or reason with any of it. So that doesn't, I mean, I'm not really that shocked at this point, but wow.
It was insane. And so we were literally like, at that point, we were just like, we have to do what we have to do. Like, we're taking people to the park. We're working out outside. Like, we're doing what we have to do because these people, like, mental health was down the drain. It still is.
Oh.
And they needed it for their mental health.
That's why I was so mad. Gyms closed down. I'm like, I understand we're all sweaty and touching things, but I'm like, this is what keeps us healthy.
Yeah. And
is what avoids us.
We got it, right? Like we understood why, but it was just, it was very hard for us to get through. Yeah. So we ended up, thank God, because of our clients, our team surviving that. And then Erin and I trying to make it, you know, her with her second baby and just trying to make it there, and Sloan is a handful.
You dealing with your mental health on that end of it. You both were, wow. That's amazing. Yeah. So kudos to you guys. And you know, I tell people, you know, first and foremost, my team is the most important thing for the culture of my agency, but it's the clients which if I didn't have my team, my clients wouldn't be there, right? But the clients are who we're serving. The clients are who are paying our bills and so we want to be the best that we can for our clients. And we're not perfect, you know, we make mistakes and there's, you know, things, but they really do come through for, you know, the businesses, and they, you know, it really is a family. It really is what, you know, propelled you guys through, and for you two to both shift gears and figure out, how do we make this work? How can we continue this? Not only is it our livelihood, but it's our employees and our clients. Yeah. Because they need us. Mm-hmm.
Truly, we felt a huge responsibility to continue in whatever capacity that we could.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, just like us telling you our story, like how much respect we gained, not only from, you know, other people kind of watching what we were doing and other businesses trying to, you know, follow suit, or like, we were kind of like the trailblazers in that area. You know, it's just our clients appreciated it so much because that's what they needed. And for all things to be taken, you know, away from them, and us still be able to provide some little bit of normalcy for people, like that was a huge driver for us. Yeah.
I wish you guys were close. Oh my God, I'd be the first person.
Well, in fact, we have online classes you can take from the kids.
Okay, so I was going to kind of go into that. I want you to explain everything about your business. Obviously your fitness studio, but like, what does that entail? What is everything that you guys have to offer?
Yeah. Well, Ohana means family. So if you didn't know that, and so we are like a giant family. It's a really cool atmosphere. And what's been so nice because of the things we went through and the pandemic and shutting down and all of that, we have a solid online platform and an online following. Awesome. So although we are just in Shelby Township, Michigan, you can actually access us from anywhere. And so that is a really cool feature of ours. So we do classes 7 days a week. We have group fitness classes, anything from boot camp, yoga, bar, Pilates. We even just started a new fitness walking class, like old school, like aerobics. It was,
you know, so what? That's been proven. That's all every trainer talks about, is just getting out and getting your steps in and walking. Like
Seriously.
Yep.
how important that is.
Yeah. And just like
It's on
making working out
in the back
fun.
of my mind to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, just making working out fun again, because a lot of times that you can dread your workouts, and we always wanted to provide a space that people could feel like they have a breath of fresh air when they walk in. And so whether you are just hopping on class online or you're stepping foot into our door, just feeling comfortable and confident that you are in the right place, you're getting taken care of, and that you have a supportive community around you. But we also offer personal training, one-on-one coaching. We're going to be launching a new one-on-one coaching program that you can actually do from online too. And
Awesome.
so that will be available. We have a physical therapist on board, a women's health specialist. So we try to
That's so
encompass
cool.
like all kinds of realms of health and wellness, because it truly is.
They're all intertwined.
It is.
You know, that's really smart, because they really are intertwined on that end.
Yeah, and Erin and I really pride ourselves on being able to deliver an experience through all stages of life. So whether you are a new mom, or you're sending your kids off away to school, or you're just trying to make it one day at a time right now, and get through life, it's a place that you can go to like just feel better overall.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I love that. And then we will make sure we post like all of your website, and links in there. So that's great that you do nationwide, right? So you can technically worldwide. So that's really cool.
Ohana worldwide.
I like that.
We're on the top of a boat.
I know, right?
I'm on a
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what are your kind of like your goals and plans coming up? Like big things? I mean, you're almost 10. Do you have anything in the works, or that you guys are trying to hit, or anything that you can touch on that end?
Yeah, I think from a business owner standpoint, like our goal is always to grow and scale and do better, and have more success in all areas. We are definitely trying to get out there, speak more, do more within our community. We do a lot of fundraising and community work, and work with some organizations that are like near and dear to our heart. And so we are very much a heart-led business, but we also want to make money. And so we are working on programs, like she said, some online training options, and more of a lifestyle coaching program that we're going to have ourselves and some other coaches, coaching anybody who needs that added support, no matter where you live. And just continue to serve in a way that feels really good for us as humans. And know that we're like doing something more than just like selling, because I think that's like one of the icky pieces of health and fitness is, it's a lot of shiny objects. I want quick results. I'm going to go with this trainer because they're promising me I'm going to lose 10 pounds in a week. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But it's not long-term, and it's not lifestyle, and it's not realistic. And so Sam and I, from the beginning, we have always said, like, we are going to be different than other gyms, and that's okay with us, because that's truly what we believe in.
That's awesome. That is so cool. I'm already I'm so inspired. Like, that is so cool what you ladies have been through. And honestly, that you've been through it together, because I had a partnership that started as like, we were friends before we went into partnership. And I really thought it would be amazing because we were two different people, but we didn't do the right foundation, to be honest. And that was my big lesson learned, is we didn't establish the relationship, and we didn't do that. And it's funny because I had that sour taste in my mouth with that partnership. And that was a big, that was a big event in my life that was really hard, and I was really struggling getting over. And then fast forward, a few more years, and everybody was like, don't ever do a partnership again, which I was believing them because of what I went through. But I also did take ownership in that, because I didn't do the proper foundation and paperwork and communication and roles and responsibilities. So I knew that was my big lesson in that. So I knew if I did ever, go into a partnership, and it's really funny because so many people said no to this new opportunity. But then I did reach out to a few people that had successful partnerships. And I was actually at an insurance conference, and this speaker got on stage who is an independent agency owner. And he was speaking about some random other topic, nothing to do with this. But literally like the first 2 minutes, his opening intro was, everybody told me not to partner. And I did it. And it was the best thing I ever did in 2016. And I was like, I literally picked up my phone and I texted my now partner going, all right, let's just do this.
You're like, this is all I needed to hear. I'm out.
That was the sign. I was like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm jumping in. So I think you guys are going to make a massive impact in this world, because I really do believe it's hard and it's lonely by yourself, right? Especially in a, I'm an independent agent. There's, captive companies, which are, your farmers, your State Farm. They all have leadership that is visiting you, that's sending you to conferences, that you're talking to every day, day in and day out, and you have that corporate behind you. I don't. You ladies don't. Yeah. It's lonely. But when you have that partnership to bounce ideas off of, I think it just makes you that much more powerful, but you just have to go about it in the right way. And I think there needs to be a lot of education and life speaking on that for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy road. It's definitely a long road, but if you do it right, even through your ups and downs, it's so much better,
Yeah, we've had so many of our friends that own businesses that are like, oh man, I wish I had a partner like you guys do, like to be able to bounce ideas off of, or even just like pick up slack, if life happens and whatnot. And so I do think it's really truly like pick your hard, right? It's hard being in a partnership, but it's also hard being on your own. And you can go into marriage, right, looking at divorce rates and say, well, it's probably not going to work out, right? And you can do the same thing with partnership. You can go into it and be like, well, everyone's told me reasons why I won't work this out. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, let's show them how we are going to do this. And Erin and I, both with our relentless work ethic and just our drive to succeed and build the dream lives for our families that we didn't have growing up. I think, if you have the right reasons why you're in business, it's not just to make money, it's to help make a change in the world. You're going to go big places. You got to have grit. You really have to have grit.
That is so true. It is not for the faint of heart. No. I will say, but I also tell people, I go, there's nothing wrong with just being an employee. I go, but you have to have that grit. You have to have that X factor if you really want to do this to yourselves.
Yeah, but like people, if you want, like there's that piece in you, like you might have been listening to my story and been like, how do you just know? But like, there's a piece in you that just wants more. And like, if you can 100%. Listen, if you can like clear out the noise and listen to that intuition and be like, just follow that. It's going to guide you to the right places. And my mom always used to say like, doors just open for you. I'm like, no, mom, I kick those doors down. Like doors don't just open for me,
into that.
And it's not like from a manifestation point or anything. It's just like, if you want something bad enough, you're going to work hard enough to get it,
Yeah, 100%.
If you have that work ethic, like you can't be stopped. And I definitely appreciate, that Sam and I do have that collective piece. Like that's something we both have innately, is like a really strong work ethic. And maybe it's because our parents had little, as we were growing up, is like, okay, we don't want this. So let me work for what I want, because we were always told like hard work is going to get you places, right? And so now that we're in business and we've gone through a lot, it's like we have to break out of that. You have to hustle, you have to do this, you have to work so hard in order to make money. And then all these people are starting to talk now. And you start to hear now that people are like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. And it's like, wait, doesn't have to be that way,
No.
And so this is like a new learning
Yeah.
thing for us too, is like, how do you balance that piece as well?
We're
Because
all
we are
going
definitely
down that road
hustlers.
together.
Yeah. And like what
Yeah.
you value too, because are you only valuing money? And what's the point of money if you're constantly working your life away? And so, especially in our
Completely.
age, with her having younger kids and me having future younger kids, it's you
Yep.
don't want to spend your entire day and night hustling anymore. And so, what are the things that you can put in place to help, enhance your own life and be able to have those moments with your kids and or husband or whoever, and cherish,
Yep.
life overall, because it's too short. If I learned one thing from my parents passing away, it's that life is way too short and it goes by way too fast, and you have to
Yeah.
enjoy it while you're here, because you never know.
You do.
And if you are constantly hustling and so that once you're 60 that you can retire, like, no, like this
Right.
my parents didn't make it to 60, so like it's
Right. 100. That's so true. And that's what I'm like, there's a fine line. I have friends that are so stingy and don't, splurge on anything. And I'm like, how are you enjoying life?
yeah,
Like
they're
you
not.
have to enjoy. No, I'm like, for what? And then, I'm looking at my parents who are both, just above 60, and they are living their best life, but they still lived, and we lived, we were blue collar. My parents were both teachers, so it's not like we grew up with a ton of money. They still had to work hard, but they also worked hard. But I remember going on trips. Like I still, we had grandparents that helped financially with that, but we still got to enjoy it. It wasn't like so, strict, but I want to make sure, to me, it was about opening a business was I wanted to be a mom. Didn't know, if that was going to happen or not, but knowing that I had nephews, I could travel wherever at any time. Like I wanted the freedom.
Yeah.
Do I love making money? Absolutely. We all probably agree on that. But to me, I could have gone and worked at corporate, 6 figures, doing whatever. But I was like, I don't want to be a slave to somebody else. I want to be able to, I know I have good work ethic. I know I'm going to make it happen. However, but I want to be able to leave and pick up my kids, not feel guilty. And honestly, it took me having kids to be able to pump the brakes a little bit at work. Like there are nights I don't even take my laptop home.
Yeah.
I probably should, but I don't. And I'm like, no, I'm turning it off. And I've tried to set better boundaries. And that's what I've really learned over the last, year, is how to set boundaries. When a client calls me, I have an urgent service request, and I'm like, that wasn't urgent. Like, that could have waited till Monday. Like that was not urgent. It was urgent in your head. So it's for sure like lots of life lessons. And I am just super thankful for being on the business owner bandwagon. And even with all the lows, it's still fun. I still wouldn't change it, Yeah. So
you guys makes it worth it.
Yes. And I have so enjoyed learning about you ladies, and you guys are literally exactly who I love having on this, because you are true badasses for what you've been through. So thank you so much for reaching out and telling your story. And we'll have all of your contact information here, and we for sure are going to stay in touch, because I love both of you. You guys are
you got to do a class with us. We'll kick your butt in class.
You for sure will. I'm still working. I mean, I'm running around with 2 toddlers, but
I was going to say your toddlers can join too. We always have kids on the video camera.
Awesome.
They hop on with their little weights.
That is so cool. They do. I made sure when they were born, they got little dumbbells. So I was like, nope, we have to have these.
It's a perfect fit. So we'll be seeing you soon on a class.
Yes, done. Well, thank you so much for being on and telling your story. And I am so excited to watch you guys continue to grow and support you. Please make sure to follow them on social media. We'll have them all tagged here, and their website. I'm big supporter of everything you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ashley Mastowski. Tune in next time for more inspiration and stories from women who've made an impact. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Special shout out to Little Dog Social Media for making all of this come together.